Hello and welcome to Minus 4 Points, a new show about fantasy football and the highs and lows of FPL. Stop. If you're just about to take another minus 4 points and do another transfer, just stop. Watch this video, watch these tips, listen to my advice. Maybe you don't need to do that minus 4 point hit. Maybe you need to do a minus 8 hit. In fact, maybe you need a wild card. That's what I'm doing this week. Ahead of game week 4, I'm playing my wild card. So in this video, I'm going to show you who I've picked in my wild card. I'll have a quick review of game week 3 and we'll take a look at some players that I'm interested in but didn't quite make the wild card. So this is my team from last week, game week 3. As you can see, wasn't a great game week rank from me. 58 points was good. It's an okay amount, but compared to other managers, it wasn't great. I had a few players I was missing out on, and I mean, luckily my game week 1 and 2 were good, so my overall rank is still respectable, even though there's a red arrow on it. But I'm happy with it, how it went. I'm happy that I can do the wild card now and make the changes. If you look at my goalkeeper and my defense, they look okay. There's not many changes to be made there. Simicas on the bench this last week just gone. He is obviously needing to come out. His time in FPL is done now. He's served his purpose. He gave us 2 good weeks. Robertson's back now. When you look at my midfield, that's when I started to make more changes, and that's why I wanted to do the wild card. A lot of people I know are doing the wild card this week. It's a popular time to do the wild card, always the first international break, because it gives you that extra time to think. You can take advantage of the price rises that happen over 2 weeks, and there was the transfer window closing. Now, the transfer window closing wasn't as dramatic as I thought, but still, I wanted the wild card to be active during the transfer window just in case anything big happened. But I wanted to make enough changes anyway without that it was still worth the wild card for me. So if you've not done the wild card yet, it's not the end of the world. There'll be, there's other times to do it, but I think if you've done it now, it's not too early, you don't have to worry. I think looking at my midfield, last week Salah did good, but Fernandes did bad too. 2 for a premium. That's not really what you want. And he's one of the players I wanted to take out. I think a lot of people will be taking Fernandes out because Ronaldo's coming in. And I think Ronaldo will be the focal point of the team. That's how he has been for the last God knows how many years. He's been the focal point of whatever team he's at. So I think you need to bear that in mind. Ronaldo is now the focal point. Last season, Fernandes was the focal point. They would get the ball to Fernandes and then things would happen. He would either find the pass or score the goal. Whereas now they'll be looking for Ronaldo first. He'll be the focal point, and then usually Ronaldo scores when he has the chance. So I think Fernandes out for Ronaldo is a sensible thing. That's obviously one of the players I wanted to take out. Smith Rowe, I gave him 3 weeks, and even though 2 of those fixtures were hard, I'd still think Smith Rowe didn't really do well enough. He had a few shots, but not dangerous enough for me, Smith Rowe. And he's at Arsenal, and there's a strange mood around Arsenal at the moment, so I want to take Smith Rowe out, and possibly if Arsenal start playing well again and get the confidence back, Smith Rowe might be someone I think about bringing back in because he's at a really good low price. But for now, Smith Rowe was a gamble that didn't quite work out for me. And Ben Rama I wanted to take out. I know I've had Ben Rama since the beginning, and he gave 2 amazing weeks, game week 1 and game week 2. But I just think now West Ham, I think European football is going to affect a lot of our players in our fantasy teams. I think for West Ham, more than ever, they're not used to it. So they're really going to be giving a good go at the Europa League. And I think Ben Rama will be a little bit tired in the league, or he might not play in some league games to be saved in Europe, or the other way around. Or they've also signed Vlasic, West Ham, and he kind of plays in Ben Rama's position. So that's one more player fighting for those places. And I just think if he has a few dips, he could be rested a few more. And I just think, he's a great player. He might still keep hitting points. But I feel like now, if you're doing the wild card, it makes sense to take Ben Rama out. He's kind of given us a good start. I don't know if he can maintain it compared to the other players I'm thinking of putting in. Last week up front, Armstrong was my cheap striker. He did okay, 5 points, got an assist. Lukaku, I was almost my differential. I had him from when he first came, and I was hoping that he would be I was planning on having him the whole season. I didn't plan on taking him out, but then Ronaldo came, and now there's 2 massive premium forwards. It's hard to fit them both in or justify one or the other. So Lukaku's also going to have to come out now, just because, yes, Chelsea have a good fixture in Villa next, but then they have 2 tricky fixtures, and you just never know. Like Liverpool showed in game week 3 that if Chelsea have a tricky game, you never know how it could go. Your big game players, they don't always do well in the big games. So I think it's safer to take Lukaku out now and then bring him back in from game week 7 when Chelsea have easier fixtures. And King Antonio, as he should be known, delivered again. I do think, like Benrahma, Antonio will start to dip when European football comes. I don't know how he's going to manage. He's even playing international football now for Jamaica, so I don't know how he's going to manage all of this football when he's had injury problems in the past. But for now, Antonio is king, and he's not going anywhere. If you look at my bench, Tsimikas and White were the two also that I wanted to take out. White, just because I think it's time to get rid of Arsenal for now. Tsimikas, again, he's not going to be getting played. And Allen and Steele, I'm happy with. Allen with 8 points on the bench. Classic case of a cheap midfielder getting your points, but you were never going to play him anyway. You're never going to put like Allen instead of Fernandes or Benrahma that week. So he's on the bench, and I'm happy because his price might go up a bit because everybody will want Allen now, and he's a good 4.5 million midfielder to have. So that was how game week 3 last week went for me. Now let's take a look at my watch list, the players I'm looking at. These players didn't make the wildcard final pick, but they're still on my watch list for the future. These are 5 players that I'm thinking about getting that didn't quite make my wildcard team, but I'm thinking of getting them in the near future if they start performing well and if they start picking up numbers. Jimenez is the first one. Wolves are interesting because they've not done well in the first 3 games, but they've been so unlucky. Anyone who's watched them has seen how close they've come to getting that goal and to getting the confidence to start battering teams, and I think they will and can do that. The new manager, he's settling in, and they've got easier fixtures now. So I think Wolves are a great pick. Most people I've seen playing wildcards are putting Wolves players in, and I've got 2 Wolves players in my team, which is why I didn't want to triple up and get Jimenez. So Jimenez is missing out just for now because there's better strikers out there. I think, strikers, they need confidence, they need momentum, and Jimenez hasn't played in a while and then hasn't scored in his first 3 games. So I just worry he might take some time to get going, but once he gets that first goal, then I'm really going to start thinking of getting him in. And like I said, Wolves are a great option. If I didn't have the other 2 Wolves players, I might have put Jimenez in, but there's other Wolves options for now, and Jimenez is something to watch out for. He's on my watch list. Lukaku's a really tricky one because I'm a Chelsea fan, so I want Lukaku in my team. Just out of principle, I want Lukaku in my team. But I just feel like it's so hard to justify it. Now that Ronaldo's here, it's so hard to justify them both in your team, and it's so hard to think Lukaku over Ronaldo. Not now, not when Ronaldo has Newcastle as his debut at Old Trafford and then 2 easier games than what Lukaku has. I think Lukaku, I hope that this can go to plan. I want Lukaku game week 7. I think it might be a case of needing Ronaldo or Lukaku, and I think just for now it's Ronaldo because he's more, Lukaku later. And on the same reason that Reece James is also on my watch list, I didn't want to have too many Chelsea right now when Chelsea have 2 tricky fixtures coming up and then a nice run of fixtures. So as soon as that nice run of fixtures comes, my plan is game week 7, I could possibly have 3 Chelsea players. I'd certainly like the idea of doubling up on Chelsea defenders from game week 7 onwards, just because Chelsea have such a good defence. They were so solid since Tuchel's arrived. They've been solid, and the only thing about Reece James is I don't know if he's going to be the starting wing back. So Reece James could be Alonso or could be Chilwell. I just feel like, especially with the wing backs at Chelsea, you never know who's nailed on, because Alonso's been playing at left back, but this happened last year. Alonso was started, and then Chilwell got minutes in the Champions League, and then worked his way in the first team. That's what's going to happen again. The Champions League's coming back. Chilwell will start to get minutes. He might impress, and Chilwell could be the first one. Same on the right. James, Azpilicueta, Hudson-Odoi. I think it depends on who they're playing, how attacking they want to be. I've seen Hudson-Odoi play when they really want to attack, and Azpilicueta or James play when they want to be more defensive. So I'm just waiting on the Chelsea defence to see how it firms. I hope Reece James's price comes down a bit. I mean, he was sent off last week and he's not playing this week. So at 5.6, I'd like that to come down to 5.5, and hopefully I can get him for when Chelsea have the good run of fixtures, if he's established in the team. Rafinha, again, Leeds is a funny one. I've seen them a few times. They seem a little bit sluggish this season. I don't know if that's because they're finally tired of Bielsa's tactics. They're finally worn out. I just feel like their attack hasn't looked as slick. Maybe James will improve that. But again, I just don't know how the Leeds attack's going to look, if they're as dangerous this season. So I'm keeping an eye on Rafinha, because if they are going to be dangerous again, he's definitely one that I'll want to get. But maybe it could be James. If James, he's a little bit cheaper. And if James is also as dangerous as Rafinha, maybe James is the player I also keep an eye on. But yeah, Leeds attack I'm keeping an eye on. I still not made my mind up if they're fully back yet. And Arsenal is the other interesting one. Tierney. My brain is telling me I should have an Arsenal defender. I feel like that's the sensible thing to do. But it's just that Arsenal have had such a disastrous start to the season. There's so much chaos around the club and speculation, and Arteta's under pressure. I just feel like if they didn't beat Norwich at the weekend, that it would be toxic and you wouldn't want any Arsenal players near your team. So for now, I'm staying away. But I have looked at Tierney and White, and I'm considering bringing them both in the future, especially because both their prices have gone down. Everybody's jumping off Arsenal right now, and it makes sense, but I'm just saying, they're on my watch list still, especially the defenders for Arsenal. They're on my watch list. So this is my team for game week 4. This is my wildcard team that I've picked. Squad value of 100.3 million. 0.4 in the bank. I like having a little bit in the bank just because it's like preseason, you know, when you pick your team, there's always going to be a few players you missed. There's always going to be someone who really impresses and you want to get them in immediately. So 0.4 gives me a little bit of flexibility to make another transfer next week. I'm sticking with Sanchez in goal. I think at that price range, compared to all the other 4.5 goalkeepers, he's still the best option at that. Even though Brighton haven't had the best of starts, they still look okay, and I'm sure they could improve, and they have still some nice fixtures, and I just feel like at 4.5 Sanchez is a little bit better still than the other goalkeepers at that price. I didn't want to go to 5.5. I could have gone Martinez, I could have gone for one of the 6 goalies to get somebody really established, but I like having Sanchez as the goalie, Steele as the backup, so it's nice and cheap and not too bad. It's Brighton, you know, they're not gonna get battered every single week. So sticking with Sanchez in goal, sticking with Trent at right back. Have to. I really wanted to get rid of Trent Alexander-Arnold so bad this week. I tried to talk myself into it so many times. I tried to get Matip instead, because Matip is 5. He's 2.5 cheaper than Trent. And I just thought, if I had Matip, I'm getting the same amount of Liverpool clean sheet points. It's just the assists. And are you really going to get that many? But the thing about Trent is he plays as a midfielder almost. He's basically a midfielder. So with all that attacking, with all of those corners he takes, free kicks, you can't get rid of Trent. As much as I'd like to and use that money to possibly have Ronaldo and Lukaku, because that was kind of how I was balancing Ronaldo and Lukaku ideas, was having to get rid of Trent. But I just feel like it's too early to get rid of Trent. He's not justified that he's not going to be hitting a lot of points so far. So you've got to keep Trent. Christensen is the Chelsea defender I've gone for. Like I said, I'm planning for the future. I'm planning from game week 7 onwards, Chelsea to have a nice run of fixtures, and I possibly want 2 Chelsea defenders. So I'm getting in one now who I think deserves to be the first name on the Chelsea team sheet. I just think Christensen has been so good all season. I've watched him closely, and he's been the best defender. Now, a lot of people are going for Rudiger in their picks this week, and I understand why, because Rudiger is the safer pick. But I think this could be Christensen's year when he established himself as the main guy. He started really well. He's had a great Euros. He finished the season well. Christensen, I think, and he's 0.5 cheaper than Rudiger. He's the cheapest Chelsea starting defender. So I'm going for Christensen on that reason as well. It's a bit of a gamble. I should have gone Rudiger maybe, but I think it's a gamble that it's not that risky. So I'm going Christensen. And I'm going to Semedo. Like I said, Wolves have great fixtures. Semedo and Traore are the 2 Wolves I've gone for, and they're both attacking. They both love bombing forward. So I'm hoping some clean sheets for Wolves, hence Semedo, and he could possibly get forward. Sometimes they play 3 at the back with wing backs, and he's the wing back. So if he continues to play like that, he's even got bigger chances of getting on assists. Traore has looked lethal when I've seen him. He just needs that goal. He needs that one goal, the one amazing assist. He's been torturing defenses. He's been running past defenders like it's nothing. He's just not getting it. I hope with the easier fixtures for Wolves, Traore is a good pick. I've also gone for Jota and Torres in the midfield, and I feel like there's a little bit of doubt with them both. They're both the kind of fantasy players that don't always get minutes, so they're not 100% nailed on. But I feel like with Firmino being injured, and with Man City not signing a striker in the transfer window, it just gives them both now a little bit more certainty. I think Firmino's injury should mean Jota plays up front, and Torres should be playing up front because City didn't sign a striker, and Gabriel Jesus, he plays on the wing, so Torres is the only option at the moment. But it's Pep, so he might play Ruben Diaz up front next week, and it won't be the biggest shock. We won't be that surprised if Ruben Diaz is up front. So you never know. If Torres doesn't play for 2 weeks, maybe I think about taking him out. But right now, if you're playing the wild card, I think Torres is well worth the gamble. And then up front, I've got Salah as well. Obviously, we don't even need to talk about Salah. He's a fantasy must. He's going to be, in fact, my captain this week. I'm thinking Salah. It could possibly be Ronaldo, but I'm not 100% certain about Ronaldo. I just think he could come off the bench, or he could have a slow game, or he might not be up to the pace of the Premier League at first. But it's a toss-up between Salah and Ronaldo. It could change. I'm going to make the decision 1 hour before the deadline, but for now it's on Salah. It could change though. Ronaldo is the obvious striker who I wanted to get in. I wanted Lukaku I just think you have to go Ronaldo for now. It's the safer thing to do, especially if you're playing your wild card, and then go down to Lukaku. You can't do it the other way around. Having Lukaku, leaving $1 million in the bank to go up to Ronaldo just feels too risky. So for now, it's Ronaldo, with Chelsea having 2 hard fixtures coming up. And I mean, it would be nice in a way for me and many fantasy fans if Ronaldo had a bit of a stinker for a few games and didn't look that much of an asset, so that his value could go down, and then we could all get Lukaku, and Lukaku's cheaper. I don't know if that's going to happen, but for now, I think you've got to go Ronaldo with his fixtures. I've also got Calvert-Lewin in this week, even though he's a little bit of a fitness doubt for the first game. I just think he might still play, and also if he doesn't, for the long run, I want Calvert-Lewin. I think this is Calvert-Lewin's year when he cements himself as one of the top strikers. Last season was his sort of first year where he's up there. I think this year he could challenge for Golden Boot. I think he can challenge the likes of Ronaldo, Kane, Lukaku. Calvert-Lewin could really challenge them. And if Everton keep playing well, if they keep playing attacking, Calvert-Lewin I think will be good. And then there's King Antonio, as he should be known and knighted in this country. King Antonio, he's staying for now. I do think West Ham's form will dip. I do think Antonio's form will dip. I don't know if Antonio can stay fully fit for much longer, but for now, King Antonio is going nowhere. On the bench, I'm sticking with Steele in goal as a 4 goalkeeper. Livramento was 4 when I signed him. Williams is another 4 defender I've signed because he's going to be playing every week for Norwich. He's 4. It's a no-brainer, really. He'll get 2 points probably now and again. I'm not expecting a lot from him, but it's good to have someone on the bench who's actually playing. And Allen is the other one who I'm sticking with in midfield, 4.5. I think that'll go up soon because he's a great 4.5 option to have. Everton do seem quite attacking this season. Him and Decore are both playing passes from midfield, so Allen at 4.5 I think is a good option as well. So that is my wildcard pick. That is my team for game week 4. It could change a little bit. I've still got 2 more days before the deadline, but I think this is how it's going to stay. Captaincy might change. Let me know in the comments how your game week's going, how your wildcard's going, what you think of my wildcard. You know the YouTube game, people. Help me out. Like and subscribe. This is my first video. I want to do more. I'd like to do them every week. We're on Twitter, we're on YouTube. Give us a follow, give us a like. Let me know what you think on both platforms. Get involved. Let's start a fantasy chat. Let's get the community going. And good luck with all of you for game week 4, and I'll see you next week.